Hello and welcome to today's video. Today what we're going to be doing is looking at dynamic analysis. Before we get into that, if you do have any questions, then all my links are going to be in the description, Twitter and the subreddit. If you have a question you want answering quickly, the best thing you can do is direct message me on Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, then just post it in the comments and I'll get to it as soon as I can. As well as my Patreon link is going to be there as well. So if you do want to contribute to a website which you'll be able to upload files to, any capture the flag files will go there, any write-ups will go there as well. It'll be a good place for beginners to go to as well. You can contribute to that by going into the description. There's some rewards there for you as well. So if you're looking to get some one-on-one tutorial stuff, then you know the rewards are there for you, that sort of thing. Right, let's get into it. So what is dynamic analysis? Dynamic analysis is a deeper analysis of the program to understand any hidden functionality which we weren't able to find in the static analysis. So if you refer back to the static analysis video where we looked through the Jigsaw ransomware, if you haven't seen that, pause the video, go to that one, then come back to this one, it'll make a little bit more sense. In that we looked at the strings for the actual exe and found what the file does, what it drops, what it creates. So it creates an encryptor and a decryptor folder, and actually creates the encryptors and decryptors as well. Changes the extensions to .fun, displays the message. We saw how it builds the message as well, which we weren't actually able to see in PE Studio strings, but we were with Windows utility strings. And pretty much everything about double clicking on that exe, we saw what it does from start to finish. There was a little bit of obfuscation in the middle, so there might be some hidden functionality in that little section. We won't know until we actually do a dynamic and behavioral analysis. We're not going to do the Jigsaw one today because I'm setting that aside for its own video where we do a full analysis of it. Today we're just going to do something simple, and that's VBA inside of Windows Word macros. The reason I've chosen this is because over the past couple of weeks I've been looking back into my honeypots and my email honeypots, and I'll explain email honeypots in the honeypots video I'll do. And I've found a lot of Word documents where people are pretending to be Apple support and saying this person with this IP address has been using your account to buy this amount of stuff, and then it comes as a download, as a sort of invoice. Then when you click on it, it says enable macros to see content. You click enable content and then it does something. So we're going to find out what that does today. So there's a few ways we can actually do this. What we're going to do first though is we're going to start out in Office Malware Scanner. Well, Office Mal Scanner. If you haven't got this downloaded, the link will be in the description. So pause it, download it. You don't need to do anything with it, just take it out of the zip folder from the GitHub page and just leave it. You don't have to run the application or anything, it just runs shit from command line. And then once you're actually in the folder, you're just going to type officemalscanner.exe, and then you're just going to drag the Word document in. So that's the location of it, and that's the name. And then we're going to type info at the end, so we get an output of what it's found. In this case, it's found nothing, and that's just because this was built with Office 365. If the Word document you get is macro enabled, but it's 2007, 2003 or 97, Malscanner is going to give you an output. If it is Office 365, then just replace info with inflate, and it gives you this output. So it says there's 14 files which have been added to the archive, in this archive, but the one it wants us to look at specifically is this one, the .bin file. This has all the information about VBA projects, so we can go to this file, and this is where it tells you it is. So it tells you it's here. So the quickest way for me to get to there is just the shortcut for app data, because it's the shortcut I know. Oops. Percentage app data percentage. So we go back to app data, local, it's in the temp folder, decompressed, it's in the Word section. There you go, VBA project.bin. We can edit with Node++, but I like to open it with Notepad, because Notepad tries to picture it, whereas in ++ it just leaves them as sort of black boxes. It's weird. So it looks like this if you run it in that. That's too off-putting for me. I don't like the nulls, so that's too off-putting. I'm going to leave it there. So this is what we can see. So straight out, I can see that the name is project and the module is a new macro. So there's something inside the macros, okay? What else can I see? Straight out the bat, I can see auto open, workbook open, and document. So there's at least 3 things inside of the macros. What else can I see? Plenty of obfuscation here. See an automation. Let's see. Anything else in here? Oh, I can see the word VBA. Oh, I can see new macros, I can see auto open, I can see an execution, and I can see the word shell. So, without even opening the file, what we can see here is we can see that it's a macro enabled document. When you run the macros, it's going to auto open, it's going to execute a shell. So straight away we know that if we do want to open this, we've got to run it dynamically. Now usually I would start up a fake net to do this, but because I created this malware, I'm not going to do it because I don't need to. So I'm going to start up Sandbox, I'm going to start up Wireshark, and I'm going to start up Process Hacker. Now, while we're waiting for these to load, I will say that this isn't a template for every single dynamic analysis video we're going to be doing. We do use a lot of the same tools, however, an exe format, for example, is different to a Word document format. So we are going to be doing dynamic analysis videos on every single format that we can think of, just so you sort of have an idea. But most of the times when it comes with malware analysis, you've really just got to think on your feet. It also does require a lot of research as well. So if there's a string you've never seen before, or you don't fully understand, you know, you've got to search for it. You've got to find a way to get that, to get to that string. So we are going to open up Wireshark, but we're not going to run it yet. Okay. So the reason for that is when I start up Word, a lot of pop-ups come up and it just filters, or it just destroys the Wireshark. So let's see. Right. I'm going to chuck the malware into here. We're not going to run it as a UAC administrator because Office 365 and Sandbox don't really like to do that together. So we're just going to leave it as normal. I'm going to keep an eye on the processor, see if it starts anything. So there's WinWord.exe, which is fine. That's what Windows comes as. As we can see, the yellow bar saying that it's inside of Sandbox. Cool. Right, okay, so then we can see straight away that gives us a security warning. Macros have been disabled. Please enable content. Now, think of, there you go, there's the opposite job. Think of this as a normal person would. So a normal person would look at this and think, what? I don't understand, it's an invoice. There's nothing here. They would click enable content just to see if it, you know, shows anything. Click on this, like we said, from the VBA project bin file, will execute a shell. We've opened it up, we can see that there's no content. Now, malware designers will put the extra effort in and, you know, provide links in this document to web servers, to the web address that they want people to go to, that sort of thing. So it's just left blank because I didn't want to waste that amount of time on this. Now, there we go. Right, okay, so we're now going to click enable content. So we've enabled the content. We can see a PowerShell's just went up. So PowerShell exe started. It's not doing anything yet though. There's a lot going on in the background as well. There we go. It's just ran something and now it's gone. Okay. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff. Right, awesome. that's all we wanted to see. So what happened there was we enabled content, it ran a PowerShell script, and then it disappeared, and then we got a bunch of this stuff. Now what this is it's a TCP connection aiming to reach port 443 out on our port 52039 is our IP address, and this is the one it's trying to connect to, and then it's over to here. So what's happening is it's trying to set up a TCP internet connection. It's probably a reverse TCP that it's trying to set up. So we can leave this here now because that's all we've really needed is that. Obviously we can make a note of the IP address if we want to, but we don't need that anymore. Now what we need to do is we need to know what that PowerShell script was doing. Now the good thing about Word is when it comes to macros, it's got to be built inside of the document. You can't just build a macro outside and import it in. It's got to be built inside, so we can actually access that. If you go to File and then go to Options, in the Customize Ribbon section, enable the Developer tab like that. It'll show up here. Now in the Developer tab, we can click Visual Basic. This is the editor for this. So this is what the macros is. So as you can see, it's new macros code, auto open, boom. What's all of this? This is obfuscation. Okay. So all we can really see is that it auto opens the word shell, and that's it. So what's this doing? How do we decode this? Is what we'll be looking to do next. Find out what this is doing. We can, however, have a quick look at the macros if we want to, just to see what's happening. So as we can see, it's an auto open. If we click edit, it just takes us back to here. Now there's a few different ones. So as you can see, there was the workbook open, but it's just all going to be the same. So now we can actually get out of that Word document, and what we can use is we can use something called Ole tools. There's a specific one called Ole VBA which we use. Now I haven't actually installed it on the actual virtual machine, so we're gonna stay out of the machine for now, and we're actually gonna go just to my normal desktop where it is installed. So this is the Ole tools section. If you want to download this, by the way, I'll put a link in the description. So instead of me installing it on the virtual machine, I've just put it in here because it just saves me a little bit of time. So we're gonna go to the CMD in this file here. Now the malware document's in here just to make it a little bit easier for the CMD to find it. The one I'm going to be using is olevba3.py. So we would just go olevba3.py and then the file name, in this case malware.m. It gives you a bit of information about it. So as you can see, it's already got the project bin, so we don't need to find that again. Gives you the strings, the obfuscation, and some information about it. So as you can see, it's an auto execution, auto open workbook open. So it runs when the Word document is opened, runs when the Excel workbook is opened. So these ones are built for Excel, but this first one is built for Word. Suspicious shell. So the word shell is may run an executable file or a system command. And then there's this CHRW, which may attempt to obfuscate. Use the DEOBF to obfuscate. So what we're going to do is do the exact same thing. DEOBF. But I'm also going to put decode at the end as well. Right, so awesome. So this is what we get out of it. We'll just open it up here. Be fine. Right. So as we can see, this is the string. So we've got the obfuscated strings itself, and then we've got an internet connection, so an IP address, which is the one that tries to connect to BB expression, and then it gives you the actual description here, so what it's obfuscated as and what the word is. So PowerShell, an executable, and an expression, new object, net.web, client.do, download string HTTP. So that's the server. That's the server address there. Payload.text, and then it runs it. So what have we learned from this? We've learned that you don't want to be opening that malware. So we'll just jump back into this real quick. So you don't want to be opening the malware. You also don't want to be enabling the macros, because there's an auto open feature, so it runs when the Word document is opened. So not only does, when you actually click enable content, it will still try and execute that when it's opened itself. When it opens, it opens up an internet connection via PowerShell, connects to this address, so this server address here, HTTP, this IP there. It downloads something called payload.text, and then it executes whatever it's downloaded. In this case, this payload.text is a reverse TCP payload built inside of Kali Linux, which, like I said, I built. Now, it might not always come out like this. This is just an example. I do, however, have an invoice in one of my email inboxes. So I will download that, and we'll have a look at that as well. We'll do that in one of the next videos. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.